The question in my mind is, how do you create or relaunch a highly profitable and successful 6 to 7 figure business? With so much conflicting advice about the best ways to start and grow your business, how do you get it right the first time? I want to help entrepreneurs make a real difference and navigate the messy world of startup or relaunch. My name is John North, and this is the Startup Secrets for Entrepreneur Show. Join me today when we dig deep with our guests and get you the best blueprint so you can fast track your own business. This episode is sponsored by Evolvepreneur.app, your all-in-one online business system. Make sure you subscribe for future episodes at startupsecrets.show right now. So let's get into today's episode.
Hey, it's Ross O'Loughlin here, and I was just on the Startup Secrets for Entrepreneurs show talking about why launches are bad for your business and how you can get more customers by looking at a longer time frame. So go check out the show now.
My very special guest is Ross from Conversion Engineering. So welcome, Ross, to the show.
Awesome, John. Yeah, cheers for having me, man. I'm excited to chat today.
So we crossed paths a few months ago, and I was really impressed with what you talked about, and it made a lot of sense. So give us a little bit of background on who you are and what you are in terms of why should someone listen to you as opposed to anybody else.
Yeah. So my background is I'm kind of an engineer, two-time recovering engineer turned copywriter, and then turned marketing consultant, basically. So I help a lot of people design marketing systems, essentially. And over the last few years, I've kind of specialized in helping education entrepreneurs. So people who've got membership sites, coaching programs, online courses, and I help them kind of get really clear on their market, number one. But then how do we get folks into their courses and programs without having to rely on just that heavy-handed like launch strategy that's very kind of ubiquitous, very common in the online marketing space, because I've been to a number of those launches in the past, and it's exhausting, number one. It's a bit obnoxious, and sometimes it doesn't pan out. And when it doesn't pan out, like the business can be in a real tough space. And then it's like red alert, letting people go, all hands on deck. Because we're very reliant on kind of like one single strategy, be bringing all the customers in. So that's really kind of who I help and who I focus these days.
Cool. And I think one of the things that dawned on me when I was looking through your stuff was that there was a snapshot of an email box with all these emails. And it's like from the other side of the fence, this is what someone sees. And it's like, buy this, on down the thing. And I thought that really dawned on me. Then that really sort of brought it home true as to actually what's going on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly the one you're talking about. So yeah, like the way I tongue in cheek call them like inbox terrorists. Yeah. But like in certain spaces, it's like very common that, particularly in the last couple of days of a launch, like people really hammer home like urgency and scarcity, and it's your last chance to buy. And oftentimes the strategy is if someone didn't open the last email, like send them another one or resend it. So they're like mailing to the people who haven't opened. So if you're not paying attention to your emails, right, like you can wake up the next day and you got like 12 emails from someone, and it's like, what is going on? And the worst part about it is like the cart is now closed. So they've
it's all over.
and now it's all over, and you want to buy, and it's like it's
crazy talk, right?
Yeah,
so
in some ways.
Tell me and the idea is we got a secret. So I'll tell you the best secret for startup and sort of restarting entrepreneurs, somebody maybe restarting a business or realize that launch wasn't such a fun idea. And what's your sort of first sort of go-to place when you look at someone and say, hey, what's the secret of this online gig?
Yeah. So like generally speaking, like one of the secrets that I tend to look at with my customers and my clients is like just understanding the timeframes at which most people convert. Like if you've got something that people want, number one, like it's obviously the most important thing with any startup is like, A, you've got a product or service that people want, and B, they're willing to pay you for it. But if you have that and you're able to generate leads, just considering longer time frames is huge. Like nearly all of the clients that I work with will go in and will look at the data for like when people convert into their business versus when they first entered their world. And the numbers are often like shocking to the business owner. Like they think, oh, well, I'll do this launch and people will buy, but don't realize like, well, the people that purchased, like when did they start paying attention to you? Like how long have they been reading your emails, watching your videos. Like, it's not just that launch campaign that did all the selling. Oftentimes it's everything else that you're doing throughout the rest of the 50 weeks of the year or 2 years. That is persuading people, that is building trust and the relationship you have with folks, and staying on top of their radar until the time is ready, until the time is right for them and they're ready to actually move forward. Like, some of my clients will look at their data and they'll see a huge proportion of the people who join their programs or their products. They're in the email list for years, sometimes months and years, and they don't have any strategy, or they're not considering, cool, so how am I actually showing up with a marketing strategy that is going to appeal to people who might be a little more skeptical, right? But who are looking for the right option for themselves at the right time. So definitely the secret is, like, build something that people want. But when you have that, get that email address, and have a long-term strategy to be proving that your thing works, prove that you're capable and able, and you will get the result for them when they hand that cash over. Then just be patient and stay on top of them and give folks lots of opportunities to get started with you. That's really, I think, the biggest secret I've been making I'd be revealing to most folks.
And it's quite interesting, because when I looked at that for your stuff, I thought, okay, so we incorporated into our software to actually start calculating days to conversion when we do the sales reports. And with my client that we're working together with, they basically, the conversion rate was sometimes up to 2 years. So, like you're dead right. And I mean, it's an old-fashioned way of thinking, because at the end of the day, that's the way business works. So people don't buy straight away, do they? They wait. They're not right now, they're not ready, they don't have the money, or whatever happens. And I see a lot of this in these online gigs where these guys say, I've closed it now, you got to wait another year. And it's like, oh, okay. Exactly. Thanks. Why did you close this thing?
Exactly. Well, like, I understand why they close it, because, like, the urgency, scarcity, like, it's a powerful psychological tactic to get people to make a decision. Do I want it? Do I not want it? Will I want this at some stage over the next year? Like, they're forcing that frame on people. But I find that when people do that, like, the completion rates or the engagement rates with those products are just very low, because people are not buying at the right time. They're buying out of fear, which is great for some, like a sales boost, but that person's not going to buy from you again, right? Or the chances of them buying is quite low, because they just spent money on the first product with you and they never used it. Why are they going to buy from you again when they didn't use the first thing? And like 100%, like the data, I know exactly the data you're talking about with the client you're talking about that we were reviewing. And like for some people, it took 2 years. Not everyone, and you don't want to have to wait 2 years.
2 years
for
is a bit
everyone.
long, really.
Yeah, but like, I think about some of the big purchases that I've made that made the biggest impact, like coaching with certain people, or I purchased like a bag or a laptop that I've been eyeballing, and I was eyeballing it for 2 years before I pulled the trigger in a number of in situations. Not that, like, there was really nothing that they could have done to accelerate. Maybe some screaming deal, but like, with a lot of the premium products I was eyeballing, but they're not going to offer 50% off. And even then, like, I'm going to buy a new laptop when I'm ready to buy a new laptop.
No,
but I know
now.
which laptop I'm going to be buying. Exactly, right? And when the time is now, the time is now. And you just have to, like, the secret, the strategy is, how do you build that marketing system where if someone isn't ready to buy, you capture that sale? Because that's a mistake a lot of people make, is they think, oh, well, I have to wait 2 years for people to buy. It's like, no, like, you still do everything you can to find the people who are ready now and to persuade them and convince them that now is a good time to join. But at the same time, you don't want to cut ties and not stay in touch with the people
you're dead to me, right? You're dead to me. You didn't buy, so you're dead to me.
Exactly. You didn't buy in 30 days of saying hello to me. You're dead to me. Please don't haunt this doorway any longer. Right? You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Right?
That's exactly right. So thanks so much for coming on, Ross, and talking about it. I think that's a really valuable tool, and I think it's a great one to end our season on, because you're a lucky episode number 8. So I think that's a great sort of reflect back on what you learned, and then come back to this and say, well, okay, be in mind, that people don't buy when you think they're going to buy, and you plan for that. So thanks so much. So how does someone get in touch with you? Because I know you've got a great little sort of mini class that you do when people come to your website, which is I found really informative. So So that's conversionengineering.com or .co, sorry.
That's the website. The best place to go, though, if you want to get what you're talking about and to just like fall into my word, is just go to openeverydaybook.com. There's a copy of it up here on the shelf. If you go to that, you can download, you get a free copy of the book. That'll also give you a free copy of the training you're talking about. Really simple, straightforward, just like on-demand training where you can watch it as you like. There's really no sales pitch at the end of it. It's just basically unpacking everything I talked about here, but in more detail.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best place to go because you get all the free resources when you go to that page and opt in.
Cool. I highly recommend it. It's probably the only 4 videos I've ever watched for ages sometimes. So there you go. You got me. So you Netflix me.
Exactly. Appreciate that, John. Yeah.
So thanks so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you again maybe next season. Absolutely.
Appreciate it, John. Thanks very much for inviting me.
That's a wrap on another awesome episode for the Startup Secrets Show for entrepreneurs. Just before you go, if you like this episode, we'd be very grateful for a 5-star review. Please also consider recommending the show to a friend or two. Make sure you subscribe for future episodes at startupsecrets.show right now. Until next time, if you're an entrepreneur, make a start on your next great business idea today.